our three deceivers once stopped a mugging? You can tell us who you think it is by voting along in the chat. Let's find out who's telling the truth and who is a chump. Oh, God. The numbers. Welcome to Chump, everybody. The Rooster Teeth game show all about lying and deception. I'm your host, Jeremy Dooley, and this episode of Chump is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Why don't you have a VPN? Protect yourself online today by heading to expressvpn.com/RTTV. And now to introduce our three deceivers we have with us today, starting with deceiver number one, Mr. Matt Bragg.
Hi.
Matt Bragg.
Thank you.
The rainbow light.
Oh, I know.
Deceiver number two, Mr. Josh Ornelas.
Hey, how's it going?
Ooh, the flip. Deceiver number three, Miss Jessica Vasami.
Hey,
Nice.
how's it going?
See, it's just like it's natural. You know, they don't even know they're on camera, right?
Yeah, they acted all nonchalant. I just slapped it.
Only two people can tell whether or not they're telling the truth or lying. The first being today's contestant, Miss Barbara Dunkelman. Very nice. The other being you, the audience, playing at home. Oh my goodness. Hey, before we get too far into the show, first off, welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in for this one. Thanks for coming by. Is this
welcome to
Josh?
the audience?
Have we had you on the show before?
No, first time person.
Yeah. First time person.
Person for a welcome.
First time guy. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show, Josh, and thanks for coming back. Everyone else, happy to have you back. Barbara, I think the last time you were on, because you had a losing streak on Chump, but I think the last time you were on, you didn't lose. I think the last time you won. Now that I think back to it, or at least weren't the Chump.
Well, at first, I want to bring up the fact. Thank you for pointing out my losing streak. Really appreciate that, Jeremy.
It's not as bad as Jack's. I talked about that before the show.
Touché.
Jax had a way worse one. Yeah.
Yeah, I either won the last time or tied with the audience. Maybe I don't remember what happened. I do know that the deceivers were the Chump, though.
So we got to keep the streak alive then, because it's not a winning streak. It's a not being a Chump streak. Winning doesn't matter on this show. It's all about just not being in last. And before we get too far into the show, I want to point out to the audience watching live that the voting system is going to be a little different today. If you were watching on the site, just on a web browser on a computer, then you don't have to worry about putting anything in the chat. A poll will come up and you can click on who you want to vote for. If you're watching on mobile, you'll be doing hashtags in the chat. You'll be doing #1, #2, or #3, and that corresponds to Matt is 1, Josh is 2, Jessica is 3, as it's shown right there. And I'll explain it as we go into all the games. But it's going to be a new system going forward, and trying it out and seeing how it goes. All right. With that being said, it's time to start off things with the first game, the staple of Chump, and it's called Pushing the Envelope. I've got a bunch of giant envelopes, and in these things are true facts about all three of our deceivers. I'm going to shuffle them up, redistribute them, so they might get their own facts, they might get someone else's. Barbara is going to question each of them for 60 seconds about the fact they received. If it's theirs, they're telling the truth. If it's someone else's, they're lying and pretending that it's about them. And at the end of the game, Barbara will just need to tell me who's telling the truth and who is lying. If she gets 2 or more right, she gets points. 2 or more wrong, the deceivers get points. An audience who work differently, we'll get into it in a second. First, let's see whose story is whose. Matt.
Hi.
The true story about Matt Bragg is that Matt once stopped a mugging. Matt Bragg once stopped a mugging.
Okay.
Josh.
Good job,
the
Matt.
true story about Josh
Thank you.
is that Josh had a spree of ripping off doors in college. Had a spree of ripping off doors in college.
Nice.
And the true story about Jessica
Strong.
Oh, God.
is Jessica kissed her cousin and then peed her pants when she was a child? So those are our true stories. Audience, you will be voting on one in particular, and it is who had a spree of ripping off doors in college. Josh is claiming that it is him. But do you think that it is Josh? You'll have to wait till you hear the story. Do you think it's Matt? Do you think it's Jessica? 2 points are on the line if you get that right. And reminder, you'll just be using the poll that is on the site. If you're on mobile, #1 for Matt, #2 for Josh, #3 for Jessica. All right, Barbara, you have 60 seconds to question each of them. Who do you want to start with?
We'll start with Josh.
Let's start with Josh. All right, so audience, you're going to want to pay attention to this one. A spree of ripping off doors in college. Barbara, are you ready to question?
Let's do it.
60 seconds on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
Josh, where did you go to college?
I went to college at University of Texas in San Antonio.
Okay. Did you stay in a dorm while you were there?
I stayed in like student apartments, so sorta.
Okay, when you say spree of ripping off doors, what exactly does that mean? Can you explain that to me a little more?
So I unhinged the door to use it as a table for a specific activity.
Okay, and where does the spree part of that come in?
I did it for a few months.
Okay. What did you use that door table for? What was the purpose of it?
In the event that you don't have a beer pong table, you have to make do, and not everybody has a beer pong table just laying around.
Okay. Handy. I will commend you for that. That is the case.
That's college education right there.
Yeah, ingenuity. Yeah.
The audience, keep that story in mind. If you believe Josh, you're going to want to vote for Josh. Otherwise, who's the story really about? Matt or Jessica? Get your votes in now. Barbara, who do you want to go to next?
Let's go to Matt.
Let's go
this
to
cousin
Matt.
kissing story for last.
Wise choice. A wise choice.
Yeah.
All right. Matt once stopped a mugging. 60 seconds on the clock to question him about this. Ready, get set, go.
Matt, what a hero. Wow. Incredible.
Thank you.
How old were you when this happened?
I believe I was like 21.
Okay, where was the mugging?
In Augusta, Georgia. It's right across the river from where I'm from, which is Aiken, South Carolina.
What was who were the people involved in the mugging?
The mugger and the woman being mugged. I don't know what you want
how
from
old
that.
was the woman?
I didn't ask her age after it was over.
Give or take.
I don't know, like 30s?
Okay, how did you stop it?
Well, the guy was like trying to take her purse, and I kind of ran up and punched him. I do have a black belt, as you may or may not know.
What happened after that?
A police officer was walking by because he started running away, and I kind of chased after him. The police officer caught him, and that was the end of that.
Okay.
Go. The mugging stopped by Matt Bragg. Yeah,
wow,
man.
a police officer just walking about. That seemed. Why did he stop it? That's weird.
It's a city, you know.
They ride in on alligators in Georgia.
Yeah.
And that leaves the story pretty much. All right, so. Jessica,
oh man, you guys screwed me.
kissed her cousin and peed her pants when she was a child. 60 seconds going on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
So many questions, Jessica.
Me too.
Well, how old were you when you kissed your cousin?
7. There's 7 or 8.
Okay. Why did you kiss your cousin?
We were just kids, kids. I guess like experimenting. Did I know he was my cousin? I think.
What was his name?
Yeah. Christopher.
And Christopher. Okay. Why what caused the peeing of the pants after the kiss?
I think after the kiss, I was just so excited and nervous. I just peed my pants. It happens.
That does sound like something that would happen. What's the age difference between you and your cousin?
I think we were around the same age. I mean, I was young.
Okay.
I like the mental
Still
struggle that was happening in there of like, here's my cousin. Did I know he was my cousin? Probably. I don't know. All right, audience. Remember, you are voting on who went on a spree in college of ripping off doors. Josh is claiming that it is him. So get your votes in. You can change those now if you want to vote for anyone else. That is going to be closing pretty soon. 2 points on the line. Barbara, before we get your final answers, how are you feeling after this questioning? Is there anyone that you aren't believing? Anyone who's swaying you a little bit? What are you thinking?
I don't know if I believe anyone. They're very convincing, I will say. Very convincing. They did a good job.
Anything in particular about the stories that's throwing you off a little bit? Like any details?
Well, the thing that gets me on the show is sometimes when the story is true, there's so little detail that people have to give that it almost sounds like they're lying sometimes when they're telling the truth. So I have to try to like figure that part out here. The door thing, the door spree, it seemed kind of like very little information Josh was giving me, which is, again, could be the fact that he's telling the truth.
Right.
But I also don't know like who else in this group would be ripping off doors. I don't know. Oh my God.
Someone stopped a mugging, someone ripped doors off, someone kissed their cousin. It's all stuff that happened.
Yeah, things happen.
But it's time to find out who did what, starting by locking in the audience's answer. Audience, you are now locked in for game number 1. Thank you very much for playing. And Barbara, we're going to go down the line. You just have to tell me if you think they're telling the truth or if they're telling a lie. And we're going to start with Matt Bragg, who once stopped a mugging. Was Matt telling the truth or telling a lie?
I'm going to say he was lying.
You want to lock that in?
Yes, I will lock that in. Sir, duly, sir.
Lock in Matt Bragg as a liar. Moving on.
Hurtful.
Josh, ripping off doors in college. Is Josh telling the truth or is Josh telling a lie?
I'm going to say he was also lying.
Do you want to lock that in?
Lock it in. But...
Lock it in. Another liar on the field. Josh is telling a lie. Jessica kissed her cousin in Peter Pants as a child. Is Jessica telling the truth or telling a lie?
I'm going to say Jessica was also lying, locking that in.
Wow. All right. Locking in Jessica as another 3 liars.
Damn.
On the
Wow.
like that.
Wow.
I'm not trustworthy at all.
It doesn't trust us one bit.
Damn.
And before the final reveal here, audience, what was your vote? Let's see who went on a spree of ripping off doors in college, which Josh was claiming is about him.
Ooh,
and the audience believed him. 53%, over half of the audience went for Josh on this one.
He was the one person I was kind of unsure about.
They don't think I could rip off doors?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh no.
We can all rip off doors.
Anyone can shoot
door. Let's go down the line, starting with Matt Bragg, who stopped a mugging. Barbara thought he was telling a lie, and I can reveal that he was telling the truth. That was a true story from Matt Bragg.
Yep.
That was one truth right there.
Shit.
On to the next one. Audience, this one you're hoping that Barbara is wrong on. Josh, a spree of ripping off doors in college. You thought Josh was telling a lie, and I can reveal that Josh was telling the truth. It was another true story from Josh, which, if so facto, mathematically means kissed your cousin in Peter Pan, Jessica. That was the truth. Jessica was telling the truth on that one. A 3 truth I was saying before the show. Oh,
I'll explain that later in the post show. I'll explain
Yeah,
it all in the
post
post show.
Jump Change will really dig into that story a little bit. I was just saying before the show, we hardly ever have 3 truth tellers, and then we got it that time.
Yep.
My God.
So audience,
Yo.
you were correct. You went for Josh. You were right, which means at the end of that round, both the deceivers and the audience received 2 points for that game. But don't worry, Barbara, it is not over yet.
Okay.
There were still points to be made up because there's still 2 games left. So we're going to move on to our next game, which is called High School Dilemma. In this game, I have 1 true fact about one of our deceivers about their time in high school. My camera's shaking around because a large, fat, orange cat just jumped onto my desk. And I'm going to present this fact, and all 3 of them are going to be pretending that this fact is about them. Barbara is going to question each of them for 60 seconds about this fact and try to determine who it is really about by the end of the game. Audience, you're voting the same way as last time on who this fact is about. And the fact that we're using is one of our 3 deceivers finished 10th in their class, was 10th in their class in high school. So we've got a real smarty on our
weird
hands.
brag. Usually it's like finish first or second or third in my
Depends on the
class.
size of the class.
Yeah. 10th isn't, I mean, I don't know.
So, audience, you are voting as well. Remember, you'll be using the poll that is coming up if you're on a browser, but if you're on mobile, #1 for Matt, #2 for Josh, #3 for Jessica. Barbara, 60 seconds. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Jessica this time.
Starting with Jessica.
Ooh.
60 seconds on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
How big was your class, Jessica?
Actually, not very big. I think it was around 200.
Okay, and what grade was this referring to?
This was senior year.
Of college or high school?
No, of college. Or I mean, of high school.
Of high school, okay. What was your best subject?
Well, what do you think it was? It was theater.
Of course it was. How do you know you finished 10th? What was the thing, like, tell me how you knew you finished 10th.
Well, because they told me, even though that's not a wonderful achievement in my opinion at all, but it was also because I did not take any AP classes, which you can get a higher GPA if you don't take AP classes, and it doesn't matter when you go to college. I really, I hope everyone knows that.
Okay.
Calm down, Jessica. Let's calm down.
No, it's something that I figured out, and it was bonkers. Like, you can
it's
still,
totally
they
true.
want you to, it really is true.
Yeah,
So it's like, why take all these AP classes when you can, they're like, oh, well, this is your GPA. I'm like, then I'll just take all the regular classes and then be really smart.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Who would you like to go to next?
Let's go to Josh.
Hey.
Going to Josh.
All right.
I feel like all
60
my
seconds.
questions are going to be the same for
Gonna
everybody.
be very similar.
Yeah.
60 seconds on the clock for Josh. Ready, get set, go.
Josh, which class in high school taught you how to rip doors off their hinges for college?
Football.
How big was your class that you finished 10th in?
I want to say it was 600 or so.
Okay. And how do you know that you got 10th?
That's a good question. I think I was told.
You think you were told? By who?
I think I was told. I had advisors who were telling me where to go to college, and I eventually decided on UTSA for some reasons.
Okay. What was what grade was this in?
This is senior year.
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna get the same answer from everyone on that. Because it's true. What was your best subject?
Biology, actually.
Okay.
Oh, she's jotting it down.
Yeah,
Making the
she
notes.
kept that.
For no reason. I just want to look
Incredible.
smart.
I'm also
Oh,
moderately
you wanted to look
distracted.
like a number 10. I got you.
My cat brought his favorite toy in and is now sitting next to it waiting for me to play with him.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's just like
he's so cute.
he's like, I know you're busy, but I mean, it's here. I'm here. Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
Barbara, that leaves one more person to question. Matt Bragg finished 10th in this class. 60 seconds to question Matt. Ready, get set, go.
Matt, why do you think finishing 10th in your class is impressive?
I mean, I don't think it was ever implied it was impressive. Just that it happened.
Just a fact. Fair enough.
I'd say hey, top 10's still okay. You're the top 10s. You don't do the top 500s.
What was your GPA?
I believe it's like, I want to say 4.0 at one point. Yeah.
And you finished 10th? That seems low. What was it when you graduated?
Man, that's the question. Probably like 4.4. I don't remember anymore. That doesn't help.
No, it does not.
No, sorry.
Where did you go? Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to college.
Where did you go?
I went to Aiken Tech, and then I was going to transfer to Clemson, but I didn't need to.
Do they not accept people who were 11th or lower in their class?
That was basically it. It was a big thing there.
You're the top 10?
Yeah.
Good enough. Okay, get out of here. Number 12. So there is your questioning to each person. Audience, last chance to get your votes in. Remember, if you're on mobile, you're voting in the chat. Number 1 or hashtag 1 for Matt, hashtag 2 for Josh, hashtag 3 for Jessica. Otherwise, just get involved in that poll that's right there in the chat. Barbara, before we get your final answer, what are you thinking on this one? Is it another could be anyone scenario?
Anybody. It could be anybody. They're all smart people, clearly.
Yeah,
and 10th is very impressive. I'm not trying to downplay that. I know 10 out of like 600 is accurate. But I'm trying to figure out who would use that fact as their like superlative type thing. So
Right, yeah. Who would remember such a thing? And we are now going to lock in the audience. Audience, you are locked in. Thank you for playing game number 2. Barbara, who is this fact really about? Ooh,
God,
get into the minds of number 10.
I think it's about.
The
I think it's about
1-0.
Josh.
Do you want to lock in Josh Ornelas as number 10?
Sure.
Let's lock in Josh. Finished 10th in high school. And before we reveal who the story is really about, audience, what did you think going into this? Who's this fact really about? Matt Bragg, they went for 40, almost half. 49% went for Matt.
That's
Man,
nice.
I'm really not
Thank
voting
you.
with the audience today.
Which, it could be a sign because the person who got 10th in their class was indeed Matt Bragg. Finished 10th in his class.
Yo,
Hey!
yo, sorry I wasn't number 1. Couldn't get up to the top 3, but number
Couldn't get to
10
the top of
Matt,
South
that's so
Kakalaki.
Yeah. I mean, that says a lot about like our school system that I could be number 10.
But dude, if the GPA really wasn't like the 4 point something like that,
It
it's
was
clearly
it
really
hit
good.
4.0. That question threw me because I was like, oh fuck, I don't know. I wouldn't remember that.
Wasn't 4.0? Isn't that like max GPA, or is it higher than that?
Well,
I don't even know.
AP classes can put it over, and I took some of those, so
Oh, see,
that's how I know you're
beyond
right,
my-
Jessica. You shouldn't
Yeah.
do it. It's a waste.
No.
Wait.
Man, I was bullshitting out of my ass. Shit.
Which means the audience gets a point and the deceivers get a point. It is now 3-3, and we are moving on to our final game to see what the result of the episode is going to be. And that final game is Out of Context. This is another one I'm very excited for. So in this game, we found a social media post from one of our 3 deceivers. We're going to present that post to Barbara and the audience. She is then going to question each person for 45 seconds about the context of this social media post to try to determine who actually made it. And let's display the post in question.
Is this worth 4 points?
It could be. We'll get to that. Let's see how you do. It says, not gonna lie, my brain read nut slug the first time I glanced over. So that is the social media post that we need context to. Audience, same thing. The poll is going to be up there. If you're on mobile, #1 for Matt, #2 for Josh, #3 for Jessica. Don't forget that. I'm just going to be saying it a lot this episode because it's new. We'll say it less in future episodes. All right, so Barbara, 45 seconds. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Matt.
Starting with Matt on this one. And reminder, 45 seconds goes quick, so keep your questions and your answers fairly short so we can get a bunch in. 45 seconds on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
Where's the tweet? Wait, I guess we don't have it on stream.
No,
Not gonna lie, I read nut slug the first time I glanced over.
Okay. What did you think you were reading? Or what was the actual word that you were reading?
well, I believe it was butt, because it was from a thing where a fan responded to a GTA where we were the slugs when we went down the thing really slow. They said then butt slug, and I read nut slug.
Okay. What time of day did you tweet this?
Man, that question couldn't possibly help you, and I also don't know the answer.
I know.
I had to remind you of the prompts. I'll give you one more question, Barbara. You can have one more than that if you'd like it.
Can you show me the tweet again, possibly? I just
sure.
No, I can't. Question denied.
Not gonna lie, my brain read nut slug the first time I glanced over.
Okay. Okay. How's your day going today?
It's going pretty good. How about you?
Not bad.
That's
Congrats
awesome.
on being
That's awesome.
top 10 in your class, dude. That's really cool.
Yo, dude, it was all right. It didn't get me anything, but it happened.
I love this.
Barbara, who would you like to go to next?
Let's go to Josh next.
Going to Josh next. All right. Nut slug. 45 seconds on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
What did you think you were reading when you read nut slug?
I mean, obviously, I read nut slug whenever I first saw it, so that's why I tweeted
what did it actually say?
It said nug slut, I think.
Okay. What were you responding to?
A friend of mine had posted a tweet showing off some merch that said nug slut.
Do you remember what friend that was?
I do.
Who was it?
Let's make it burn.
Okay.
So we've got butt slug and nug slut. Jessica, 45 seconds to get the context here. 45 seconds on the clock. Ready, get set, go.
Jessica, what did the thing you were responding to actually say?
It actually said nut slag. SLAG.
Okay, what is that? What is that?
Well, slag is a British term, I believe, that means a woman that sleeps around. So, this was Mariel calling me that, by the way.
Oh, she called you a nut slag?
Absolutely. Well, no, she called me a nut slag. I thought it said nut slug.
Oh, which one's more offensive to you?
That's a great question. I think nut
I
slug is more offensive.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yeah,
like,
coming from her, yes.
like you read nut slag and went, oh man, I thought that said slug. I was about to lose it.
That's something that she would say to me.
Yeah.
So there is your context, Barbara. Audience, you have just a little bit more time to get your last votes in for this episode. Barbara, what are you thinking going into this?
I don't think it's Jessica because I don't know if I've ever seen Jess type out NGL in a tweet or like a post before. So I don't know if that's something that she often uses.
Interesting.
And like Josh had a pretty specific example of what it was. Matt was kind of like wishy-washy, but I've been so
You asked me
off-base
3
on
questions.
You
this,
also
man.
asked him how he was doing.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
And hey, I was very honest. I'm having a great day.
There it is.
Yeah, and I have seen things that say nud
Now I know
slut.
he's lying. Well, Barbara, before we get your final answer, audience, we are locking you in. You are now locked in. Thank you for playing this episode. And Barbara, who actually made this social media post?
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Josh because that's my first instinct. I think he was more detailed. And to me, like that makes sense in my head in terms of how you could read something the wrong way. The other two were.
You want to
little
lock that in?
off. Yeah, I'll lock that in.
Locking in Josh as the nut slug. And audience, what did you vote for? What did you think
It's
about
probably
this one?
fucking
Who
Matt.
made the social media? They went with Matt.
Uh,
The audience,
Not gonna lie,
Probably
that makes
Matt.
sense.
It's probably
the
Matt.
audience
Damn it,
has
Matt.
gone. The audience has gone with Matt, which means at the end of the game, this is the first one the audience got wrong because the person who made the post was Josh Ornelas. You were correct, Barbara.
Yeah!
You were right.
Not one.
You got, yes, it was indeed responding to Mika Burton and merch that said nug slut on it, and he read it as nut slug, which is very funny. Yeah, there he is. Responding there. But so audience, you missed that one. It does mean the deceiver still get a point, and Barbara gets a point. The deceiver should be at you did the math wrong. They got one for fooling the audience. They should be at 4. There it is. Let me pop it back up real quick. There it is. Which means deceivers ended this with 4 points. Congratulations on being the winner, but of course it's about who has the least points, which for this episode, it means that our contestant Barbara is going to be tonight's. There it is. I like that you just ready the whole time.
I'm ready. Swear this.
That's
the rest
also
of the
what
night.
my envelope looked like for the longest time. I just took an envelope and wrote "chump" on it. It was like it looks better without it, without me scribbling on it. But thanks very much to Barbara and all 3 of our deceivers for coming by for this episode of Chump. Thank you, audience, for playing along. If you're watching this not live, on YouTube or on the site, remember that you can watch this live Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Central Time, and you can play along by being a first member and voting along in the chat. And then also, if you're a first member, you can watch our post show, Chump Change, which we're going to go film right now, where we talk a little more about these stories, especially Jessica's. And thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Have a good night. See you next week for another episode. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching that wild episode, everybody. Let us know in the comments down below who managed to fool you, and make sure to watch live next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time, RTTV. It's free. Just sign up, watch, and play along. We'll see you then.